Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be going through the Collingwood destruction of the Power. And are the Power even a top 8 side this year? I don't think they are. I think my prediction was 12th, 13th, something like that. Let me actually bring that up here. Where was it? So it was Port Adelaide in 10th and Port Adelaide in 14th, so rounded, averaging that out, that's what, 12th? Yeah, that seems about right for the side at the current moment in time. They got absolutely flogged. I know that they have Butters out and stuff like that, and no key defence at the moment, but they just look poor, and so that'll be interesting to see how that develops over the year. But let's jump into the Collingwood Footy Club. Wow, what a game. And McStay, he looked really good as that backup ruck, I would say, that secondary ruck forward, and I think he can take it over from Cox, and I don't think they need Cox anymore, simple put. But the big debate from this basically is the midfield mix. CBAs, let's change this from the last game and go over to Collingwood. Obviously, they played the 2 games, so we have a little bit more data on them, but we're no closer, I don't think, to figuring out what the heck's going on. So Nick Daicos, 70%, that looks about right for Nick Daicos. He looks like he'll try and evade tags in different ways. He's also had cramping as well. So 70-75% seems about right for Nick Daicos. I don't know what exactly he did last year. Let's just quickly double check that. He did 74%. So I think 75% is roughly on par with what Daicos will do, which is good. Pendlebury, he's gone from 80% down to 29%, played as a sub and 29% in a quarter. So it seems like they still want him on ball. I don't know why they want him on ball, to be honest. He looks better behind the ball and will be a better ball user behind the ball, it feels like. Maybe I'm wrong with his ball use, but it's always felt like he's one of the smooth movers in terms of his ball use. Ned Long, really good in terms of his CBAs. Perryman dropping a little bit. How does Jordan De Goey just got past fit, I believe, in the last about hour or so. So you're probably going to hear this 6 hours or so after he gets past fit, but that just shows you the recording delay to publishing. But yeah, definitely interesting. And then still Sidebottom kind of takes up the minutes there. If you look at that, that's 96%. And then that's 94% if you combine him and Pendle's minutes. So that's kind of consistent, I would say, there. And who else dropped out? It would be Ed Allen dropped out for Lachie Sullivan, basically splitting minutes there. And then also Bo McCreary and Crisp and Elliott dropping, 13, 9, so that's 22, 30%. That's basically Ed Allen getting some time there as well. And that's the split there with McStay and Darcy Cameron doing a little bit. And who was the third? Because you see here, I'm just adding them up here in my head. 97%. There was 3. Someone came in for a ruck contest in the CBAs. That's weird. Can probably figure that out through here, but that's weird that there was someone that came in. Ned Long did a ruck contest, it looks like. Yeah, Ned Long would have come in and done a ruck contest as a CBA. So that's weird. Anyway, back to this, and how do they form in terms of midfielders? Jack Crisp, a 101-107 split. I just don't like his consistency. I don't know what it did in round 1, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to back it up too regularly. If I just go quickly to their round 0 game, what did he do exactly in that game? He went and scored I'm looking here, he went and scored a 77, so 74. So he's averaging like 85 across both, not looking good. Josh Daicos, 99-88 split after a 88-95 split. So he's basically averaging, about 93 on both. He's going to be a 90s guy, about 12th or 14th in defender line. So just not relevant, I don't think. Lipinski, 97-95. So he's done back-to-back decent games, hasn't he? I had 53 in the 53-74 in the first game. So maybe he gets better, but I just don't think he's worth it. Nick Daicos, 95-98. He's just going to drop massive cash. Simply put, what did he drop in round 1? Let me just quickly, so that I don't show if I've done any trades. Daicos, as I don't know if I've actually done any. Daicos dropped 69k, has a 133 break even. So he could drop below $1 million, and that'll be really good for those that are going to try and pick him up. My plan is still to pick him up in round 7 because he's got this run here. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, he's got the bye coming up soon. So yeah, I think he's definitely, for those that didn't go with him, they've definitely won it already, because 69k cash drop is absolutely huge. That's absolutely huge. And that could turn into 100k, and then you have to factor in the guy that you've also bought. It's probably hold, if not going up. Maybe you're getting him from a mid-pricer. Maybe you're getting like a Callahan or a Day or something like that, and that's already 130, 140k difference in team value there. So yeah, he's definitely one long-term, going to be good, but yeah, short-term, I think he copped a tag as well again in this. Drew, I think, tagged him, but I could be wrong. Houston, absolutely huge. Ned Long at 90, 113. Interesting, he just did really well. I'm going to try and bring up these splits for you in terms of the quarter by quarter, but he did well, simply put. He scored a 90. When you score a 90, you've done pretty well. So let's look at Ned Long's splits. 25, 31, 22, and then 12 in the last. So he could have honestly gone a ton in fantasy alongside his 113 in Supercoach. So he's done pretty well there. And then you've got Schultz Maynard. Skipping down here, there's no one else fantasy relevant or Supercoach relevant. McGuinness, 54, 53. And then I completely forgot Perryman, 49, 62. He basically just had a stinker of a second quarter. I know 49, he's going to have more than that. 12 point first, 1 point second, 27 in the third, and then 9 in the fourth. If you put that 1 pointer second quarter and put it up to like 15, let's say, then suddenly he's on like a 63 and probably 75 split, and you're looking at that going, that's not the worst. I think this is the floor game, as he basically was tagging Horn-Francis and other guys there, just trying to slow him down. I'm not too worried about Perryman. If you look at the midfield minutes, I think if you look at the CBAs, in quarter one, he had 5. In quarter two, he had 4. In quarter three, he had 4. And then in quarter four, he had, Quarter four, he went and didn't have a CBA. So I still think the role is there for him. And so I wouldn't be moving him on just yet. I would still say give him another week, because I think this is his absolute floor. And I think he's still going to return a 70, 75. And I think it's more important in both Supercoach and Fantasy. And I'm going to say this, and I said it last night on the stream. It's more important to get the cash generators in now rather than fix up Perryman. Because Perryman, we still haven't seen the buy for GWS haven't got through their buy. Sydney haven't got through their buy. Hawthorn haven't got through their buy. Essendon haven't got through their buy already. So let's just look and quickly show you here what I'm talking about in terms of the defender line in Fantasy. Same thing will hold for Supercoach. If we look at average, Salem, price point is going to be the best way to show this. Dane Zorko, he's got really good, but you're not going to be able to jump him up 400k. You're not going to have 400k to do that. So you can't get to Dane Zorko just yet. Lockie Whitfield on the bye, not going to trade in the bye guy. Sam Flanders hasn't played yet. Nick Martin hasn't had his bye yet, so you can't trade into him. Nick Newman's injured. Jack Sinclair's just returning, can't trade into him, I don't think. Luke Ryan was horrific. Wangini Malira, can't trade into him. Well, you can, but I probably wouldn't. Max Holmes could trade into him. But then again, if you get one of these guys wrong, you're trading in again. And that's what the worry is with that. So I just think it's more important if Bailey Dale or Holmes scores like a 90 or something like that next week and Perryman goes 75, you've gained 15 points, but you missed out on potentially 50 or 60k cash gen. And 50 or 60k cash gen, it tumbles the week after that as well, because instead of getting, for instance, if you get, say, a Levi Ashcroft this week, you're not going to be able to get him next week, or a Lindsay this week. You're not going to basically be able to get him next week, because this is their big jump, those guys. This is their big jump. So, and then they're also going to get 70k the week after that, so they're going to be matching your guys anyway. So you want to just be getting those cash generators in, because cash generation is king. I've said it for the last 3 years now. So I'm not making those big moves yet with, I will take a 20-point hit on a Perryman, 30-point hit on a Perryman, if I can get the cash generator in, because also the cash generator will generate cash, but also I don't have to worry about getting that trade right off 1 week of data. That's my main point there with Perryman. Howell, Hill, Pendlebury, and I was obviously in the boat of trading him straight away, but then I sort of came back on that as well, because he had 27 touches in week 1, and now he's had 13. If he has a 20 toucher in round 2, 20 touch round 2, That's another 3 kicks and 4 handballs. That's 12 points, 8 points. That's another 20 points. That's already a 69, let alone him potentially having another couple of tackles or couple of marks, potentially getting on the scoreboard. Suddenly, a 20-touch game is a 75-80, and he just does nothing. He doesn't move in cash, doesn't do this. We've also seen this a couple of years ago when I had Duggan, and this happened as well. He had a rough start, and then he goes off and goes bang, and suddenly you're, for those that traded out of him, you're like, well, that kind of sucks. But worst case scenario, he probably just holds price, to be honest with you. But we'll see how to go impacts that. Anyway, going through Port Adelaide, they were utterly horrendous other than Rosie, 120, 112, 128. Good for those that probably VC'd him. He got a good enough score there, or his captains, he got a good enough score. I had him VC, and I took him on with Gorn basically because of the 30 green dots, and yeah, he just outscored him. So 35 touches for Connor Rosie. He looks really good. And outside of that, no one else I don't think is really relevant. Horn Francis, you're not trading him, simply put, because you're just wasting a trade. Because if you want to get him back cheaper, you're not going to be able to, I don't think, simply put. So you don't trade these guys out, I don't think. You don't trade out Primos unless they're injured, basically. Bergman, Richards, because that's when you're realizing cash losses or something like that. And yeah, you just don't do that with Horn Francis as he was tagged. No one else here really interesting. Pal Pepper, for those that went with him in Supercoach, you stuffed it. Yeah, he's a must trade out basically because that role is not good. And you can basically trade him. Hopefully you have a spare forward so that you can trade him to a midfielder because he's basically the same price as Levi Ashcroft. So yeah, that's what I would be doing there. He's the type of guys that you trade out. The failed cash generators is what you're trying to trade out now. Not chasing points. And no one else here really is relevant, I don't think. So anyway, and also Logan Evans had a stinker. So told you that the points in the back line would be shared around. Even Finlayson looked really good to start, but then he's basically cramped up and stopped scoring. So, and Farrell, 88-100, I feel like that's just going to be shared. If you look at those points, and I think I said 240 between like 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, that basically happened between Logan Evans, Bergman, Finlayson and Farrell. That was about 240, 250 points between them all. I said 3, there was 4 of them there. I think Logan Evans gets better and these guys get worse, so it is what it is there. But anyway, that is the video there going through Collingwood's demolition of Port Adelaide. What are Port Adelaide going to do with the pressure off in essentially for Ken Hinkley, given that he's handing it over at the end of the year? Do they go quicker with that transition there? What's going to happen? I don't think they make finals, especially with Butters out for another 6 weeks or so. But Nick Daicos, probably a massive win, I would say, now for the non-buyers, and they get him on Anzac Day, and suddenly he goes 130 or so, and he's now going to be probably 50k cheaper on both platforms. So anyway, if you guys did enjoy that, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. If you are listening on Spotify, give me a rating and follow over there, and I'll see you guys in the next and final video for today. Thank you guys. Bye guys.